was so disabled, mostly housebound and partly bedridden for 20 years, that some days I couldn't even sit up, let alone stand. This was caused by one of 5 incurable diseases that made my blood pressure dangerously low and me sleep my life away like Rip Van Winkle. Until I quit 5 prescriptions, including my addiction to benzodiazepines. You know, those nice, safe sleeping pills like Xanax, clonazepam, and Valium? As addictive as heroin and 10 times harder to quit. Turned out to be a definition of the word safe I'd never heard before. 6 months after I'd tapered off, to my absolute astonishment, I began to recover my health. It seemed like a miracle. But my doctor didn't mention the itty-bitty teeny-weeny side effects of taking benzos long-term, like death, dementia, and baldness. And you hope you die before you lose your mind or your hair. Or other possible withdrawal symptoms, like depression, hallucinations, and a full-on psychotic break with reality. Now, Ms. L prefers to use medical terminology. The correct scientific term was batshit crazy. Stark, staring bonkers. Being medically mad, however, I knew something was very awry. I always had one foot firmly planted on the ground, but the other one was in la-la land along with my brain. Now, personally, I think reality is highly overrated and gets conceited, thinking it's the only one. I didn't miss my mind one bit, and used to say, if you see my mind, tell her I hope she's having half as much fun as I am. Ironically, I did not take acid when young, but had my first hallucination after I tapered off benzos. I was clean and sober, gone to NAAA, and higher than a kite, having hallucinations like a cross between magic mushrooms and an ayahuasca shamanic journey. Warning, do not try this at home. Most people's benzo hallucinations are terrifying, like demons telling them to kill themselves or cut off people's heads and eat them. I mean, ew, I'm vegan. Are they at least pasture-raised? No chemicals, no steroids? Being old, grounded, and having had therapy, mine were mostly fun. My first was a drag queen who said, darling, you're starting your career over again at your slightly advanced age. Quite frankly, you're the teensiest bit dowdy. Let me choose your clothes. He'd look in my closet. I'm older than fuck, I have a vintage closet. And go whoosh, 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 whoosh. And in 10 seconds, I was wearing a fabulous glam outfit, and I'd go out and get 10 compliments from total strangers. Then I broke up with my boyfriend of 15 years. It turned out he liked me better, drug, disabled, and dependent. 3 months later, the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life wafts through my front door, naked, and says, I have come to bring you to your destiny, you who came to the United States to bring me to mine in our shared last life. And I was supposed to do it for you this time, but I was killed. So they, and he wouldn't tell me who they were, let me come, looking as I did in our last life, to remind you of who you really are. I said, I don't even believe in reincarnation. We can't all have been Cleopatra. And put on some damn clothes. God, I hate people who drop in on writers. You haven't even introduced yourself. This isn't going to go well. I am the Archangel Gabriel. I looked at him and said, I'm not a fucking Christian. Go bother somebody who is. Then he told me in the last life he'd been Louis Riel. You just told me you were the Archangel Gabriel. Now you think you're Louis Riel. That's just nuts, I said to my hallucination. He claimed I'd been Gabrielle Dumont and he secretly desired me being bisexual. Wow, Brokeback Batosh. Needless to say, with a line like that, we later had a mad, passionate romance. The sex was incredible. We were shapeshifters and could make love as eagles high in the sky, as mermaid and merman deep in the ocean. A bartender told me, Linda, I thought I'd heard every permutation and combination of hallucination humanly possible, but yours were epic. But you know, you were probably just fondling the philodendron, groping the greenery. I'd check to see if the potted palm is visibly drooping. Oh my God, non-consensual plant sex? I've and detect the potted palm, which looked remarkably good, even thriving. May I say erect, thrusting its little green fronds perkily at me? Whew. Clearly I'd asked for permission. I love love. Apparently also interspecies love. Now, I enjoyed most of my trip to Bonkersville. As Charles Bukowski said, some people never go crazy. What truly horrible lives they must lead. The benzo withdrawal symptoms, not so much. I've been to hell and back so many times, I have a frequent flyer discount. But though my life is now much more ordinary, I'm glad I have both feet firmly planted on Mother Earth. This radically different Dorothy had to rediscover her own heart, brain, and courage to escape from benzo Oz, bust out of pharma prison, and find her way home to me. Dorothy was right. There's no place like home.